In World War II, American factories built fighters at a pace the world had never seen. The Mustang, the Thunderbolt, the Lightning, each one designed to solve a different problem in the air war. In the next few minutes, we'll break down 8 U.S. fighters, their speed, firepower, strengths and flaws, the truth behind the names you thought you knew. The North American P-51 Mustang entered service in 1942 and quickly became one of the most feared escorts of the war. Powered by the Rolls-Royce Merlin Fine 12 engine, it could reach more than 430 miles an hour, climb to nearly 42,000 feet, and fly over 1,600 miles with drop tanks. With 650 caliber machine guns, the Mustang tore apart enemy bombers and fighters. Pilots like George Preddy became household names as their victories mounted. Known as the Cadillac of the skies, more than 15,000 were built, giving the Allies reach and speed that no other fighter had. Yet early versions struggled until the British engine upgrade unlocked its full potential. The Republic P-47 Thunderbolt entered service in 1942 and earned the nickname Jug for its size and power. Driven by the massive Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp radial engine, it could reach more than 430 miles an hour, climb to 43,000 feet, and more than 15,000 were built. Armed with 850 caliber machine guns, along with bombs and rockets, the Thunderbolt was one of the best ground attack aircraft of the war. Aces like Francis Gabreski proved it could dominate the skies as well. Its toughness was legendary. Pilots often returned with holes in the wings or missing parts of the tail, but its heavy weight and fuel use limited range until external tanks extended it later in the war. Lockheed's P38 Lightning entered service in 1941 and stood out with its twin-boom design and heavy firepower concentrated in the nose. Powered by twin Allison V1710 engines with turbo superchargers, it could reach more than 400 miles an hour, climb above 44,000 feet, and more than 10,000 were built. Armed with 450 caliber machine guns and a 20mm cannon, the Lightning struck hard at bombers and fighters alike. America's top ace, Richard Bong, claimed most of his 40 victories in a P-38. German pilots gave it a name that stuck, calling it the fork-tailed devil. It offered range and versatility unmatched by any other American fighter, though early on it suffered from dangerous dive problems that were only solved later in the war. The Curtiss P-40 Warhawk entered service in 1941 and became the backbone of American and Allied air forces in the early war years. Powered by the Allison V1710 V12, it could reach about 360 miles an hour, climb to 30,000 feet, and more than 13,000 were built. Armed with 650 caliber machine guns, the Warhawk was rugged and easy to maintain, which made it valuable in North Africa, the Pacific, and China. It became iconic with the Flying Tigers, who painted shark mouths on the nose and used it to great effect against Japanese fighters. It was durable and dependable, but slower and less agile than newer enemy aircraft, so it gradually shifted into ground attack as more advanced U.S. fighters took the front line. The Bell P39 Airacobra entered service in 1941 with an engine mounted behind the pilot, driving the propeller through a long shaft. Powered by the Allison V1710, it could reach about 385 miles an hour, climb to 35,000 feet, and nearly 9,600 were built. Armed with a 37mm cannon firing through the propeller hub and backed by 50 caliber machine guns, it had enormous punch at close range. U.S. pilots often found it underpowered at altitude, but in Soviet hands, it became a deadly low-level fighter, scoring thousands of kills. Known as the Airacobra, it had firepower and toughness, but its poor high-altitude performance kept it out of the U.S. front line. The Bell P63 Kingcobra entered service in 1943 as an improved version of the Airacobra. Powered by a later model Allison V1710, it could reach more than 400 miles an hour, climb to nearly 43,000 feet, and about 3,300 were built. Like the P39, it carried a 37mm cannon through the propeller hub and multiple 50 caliber machine guns. The Kingcobra never played a major role with U.S. forces, but hundreds were shipped to the Soviet Union, where they fought hard in the final campaigns. Known as the Kingcobra, it had strong performance and heavy firepower, but for the U.S., it came too late to make a difference. The Boeing P26 Peashooter was America's last open-cockpit monoplane fighter. Powered by a Pratt & Whitney R1340 radial, it could reach about 230 miles an hour, climb to 28,000 feet, and just over 150 were built. By 1941, it was obsolete, but a handful still defended the Philippines when the Japanese attacked. It was nimble for its time, but hopelessly outmatched once modern war began. The North American P64 began as an export fighter and ended up serving mainly as an advanced trainer. Powered by a Wright R1820 radial engine, it could reach about 290 miles an hour, climb to 32,000 feet, and only a few were ever built. It never saw combat with U.S. forces, making it little more than a historical footnote. These 8 fighters show how quickly American aviation advanced during World War II. From the outdated Peashooter to the sleek Mustang, Mustang, each one reveals a step in the race for speed, firepower, and control of the skies. The Army Air Forces relied on them to fight across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific. But the war was not only decided in those skies. Out on the oceans, carrier decks launched fighters that had to win or lose entire battles in a single day. Those planes are next.